this is a great feeling to see all, to be all of the anticipation of the show, the preparation for the show. This is exactly what it is. This is it. See, we're all looking around at things and trying to put ourselves together, and and it's nice to, obviously people can see we're close or friendly. It's a nice warm feeling, and seeing my old friend Sam and all of this stuff. It's very it's nice to be awakened to the show in this one.
Yep, just real people,
Yeah.
hopefully doing good in the world.
Real
It's
people
awesome
doing
that you're
important
doing
stuff.
this.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam, you got Kevin watching?
No, Kevin's golfing.
Oh.
My mother almost fell to the floor when I told her that you were on the show today. She's a huge fan.
Who is this?
My name's Damon Rosen. I used to be Tom's producer for years. I moved to Israel 4.5 years ago, and I got back 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
10, 9.
Broadcasting live on WNN 1470 AM, 95.3 FM, iHeartRadio, and the World Wide Web. This is Make America Think Again with your Google Blacklisted host, Tom Trento.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
All right, here we go. Monday morning, 2 days left. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 days left before a decision is made and what direction this country goes, whether we follow the framers and the founders and the Judeo-Christian principles as articulated in the U.S. Constitution, the Federalist Papers, all of that, or whether Karl Marx takes over. Susie Gold, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Tom.
Exciting
Good
show.
morning to all of our
Yeah.
listeners. Yeah, looking forward to an exciting and fun and informative show today.
Edutainment. We're going to do a lot of educating, a little bit of entertaining at 10:05 in the morning. WNN 1470. Tom Trento, your host with Susie Gold. We got a full house today. We got our producers in the control room. Special guest, Sam Sorbo. You in there, Sam? I think you're there. But our special guest today is going to be with us for a little bit. Interesting gentleman. We'll get into his background. But I'd like to, right up front, all of you listening and watching, tell your friends to tune in, WWNN 1470 AM, 95.3, or iHeartRadio worldwide. If you want to watch, theunitedwest.org. You can watch this show, and I'd like to welcome, and everybody get ready to give a
Should we do a
rousing
drum roll?
round of applause to Jon Voight, our special guest. We got a live audience, John. Good morning.
Wow. Yeah, good morning, guys.
How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm seeing myself now. Is that appropriate, or am I supposed to be seeing you? Yeah, there we go. Okay.
We can hear you and see you, so that's all that matters. But we'll sort that stuff out as we go through.
Here's the beautiful Sam.
There's Sam right there. Yep, Sam and John are longtime friends, and Kevin, who's golfing today. Kevin's been on the show, and Sam many times.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of serious stuff to get into. 2 days left today and tomorrow, and then serious direction the United States will take. But John, I want to refresh your memory. This is not our first rodeo. You and I met a few years back. It was in Tampa, Florida, at the RNC, the Republican National Convention. We were doing our show from there. And Mark, you got a little bit to refresh. By the way, John ate, I think, your sandwich. Wasn't it your sandwich?
Yes, it was my sandwich. I gave him half my sandwich.
gave him half
and he
your
claimed it as his own.
And drank my wine. But go ahead. Let's see what it looked like. Let's see what it looked like a few years ago. Man, time is flying. But in recognition, I have a, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jon Voight, and he's bringing me lunch. Way to go. How are you? Nice to see you, sir.
Sure?
Good to see you.
Look at this.
Yeah.
This is only 3 hours old.
Enjoy your dinner. We
You'll
are
love it.
We are on television.
You're on television, food. You see, this is how many bites I've taken out of it.
Those are my bites.
Nothing.
You can take a bite
You see,
here.
this is the sacrifice you make for the truth, for the country. This is for the country I've done this.
There's more to that than you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen. We're live streaming Tom Trento with Jon Voight here on the 27th. Again, I'm stalling so you can take a bite.
No, go ahead.
Come on.
Because the whole
I'm
interview,
Italian.
come
I'm
on.
Italian. I'd be insulted if you don't eat while we're talking. Okay?
Tommy,
There we
Tommy.
go. Take a bite. Enjoy it.
That's right.
Manja. We're here with a true American hero, ladies and gentlemen. Not just a good actor. Anybody can be a good actor. We got those all over the
Not
place.
anybody.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Not anybody. People can win Academy Awards and things like that. But seriously.
Oh, look.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wait.
There you
Watch
go.
this.
Salute.
Here we go.
This is from the cameraman behind the camera. He left the camera. Left the camera on a little wine. Oh, God bless you for that.
All right. That was a few years ago, John. We had a good time, and
Salute. Okay, to America.
all right.
Where's my glass? What's the deal?
America is
There
right.
you go.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Here
All right. That was a few years ago, and you have been very active.
It was
But-
pretty entertaining.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty entertaining. We do
We're
some
good
good shtick
together.
together. Yeah. By the way, a good friend of ours and Sam's, Dan Gordon, when I put the promo out, he told me to tell you that your best work is Mickey Donovan. He says he's doing an amazing job. So that's from Dan Gordon,
Oh, that's great.
good friend of yours, yeah. But what you've been doing lately is the focus of attention for our show today. You've been putting out these short videos, and they're getting millions and millions of views. And partially, you have some notoriety, but a lot of people with notoriety put out videos and nobody watches them. The content of what you're saying is simply amazing. These themes of patriotism and commitment to God and country. What is the context for those, and why did you step out and speak about some very, very controversial stuff at this moment?
Well, I think that this is a tremendously serious moment, and as you say, we're all very on edge about the results, coming. We're deeply concerned and in prayer, and so we're calling on, all of our higher understandings, and I have to admit to you that I get information from certain sources, and I am very much very grateful for the people that I've been associating with over the years, and the avenues towards certain information. I want to let me start by repeating the words of one of those videos, because it's so beautiful to me, and it's a way to start this, this interview, and to get information out to people. Of course, we call upon our highest prayers and ask Jesus, Moses, and all saints to save the truth that has been taken down by these cruel individuals of the left, and ask God to place his hands upon this nation of the United States of America and bless and protect the truth for our president, Donald Trump, so he can continue his legacy as one of our greatest presidents. That's it. And
well, that's pretty powerful stuff. And that when I saw that in one of your videos, it struck me what we have been doing here, our organization, the United West. We're typically a counterterrorism educational organization. We defend the Constitution, we defend Israel, and we go after bad guys. And we're a group of Jews and Christians affirming the Judeo-Christian principles. When I saw that, it struck a note of solemnity, very solemn, and your concern of bringing God into the mix in our culture, which the framers had no problem doing. It may be hard for somebody that still lives in Southern California. What about stepping out, speaking like this, patriotic, using themes of God
Well,
with
it's-
your friends and your Hollywood cohorts?
Well, I don't. I think about one of the most disturbing aspects of this movement towards socialism, which we're facing, the overtaking of the Democrat Party and so much of our society, the media and all of that. It comes from this idea of, there's nobody to be accountable to, so there are no rules anymore, which is why the door is open to so much corruption. And when I saw that the Democrat Party took God out of the platform, it was, that's it, guys. There we go. You're giving it away. And of course, I'm a fellow who's very spiritual, and I think everything comes down to that. It's our relationship to God. That's all it is. And our country has a very close connection to God from the first. Our founders, as you say, Tom, were very comfortable talking in those terms and expressing our dedication to God, this informs all of our founding principles. So and we hold these truths, from the first document. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, that they come from the Creator.
Yep.
That of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These beautiful, extraordinary words are being attacked right now with this election. And so it's just a crucial election, and I'm doing everything I can, and you're doing everything you can, and so many people are fighting the battle, and we're representing the founding fathers and all those beautiful people in between us and them that have stood for all of those beautiful values. So anyway, we're out here today at the last hour doing a little bit more just to see if we can make a difference right down to the end. And of course, we've had the great example of our president, who's, when they say you leave it all on the field, when it's that important, well, he certainly has shown the way to that. He's an extraordinary president, and we should be just so grateful to God for this guy in office. He's done an enormous amount, and he's got more to do. So we got to get him in.
John, is this guy amazing or what? 74 years old, a little bit overweight. I can't keep up with this guy. I mean, 5 rallies yesterday, 25 rallies today. He's all over the place. But
Yeah.
not only have you hit on these very important fundamental themes, and it's 9:16 in the morning if you're just tuning in. Tom Trento with Susie Gold. Susie has some questions. Our folks back there, Sam, will open that up in a minute. But we're listening. We're speaking with Jon Voight, who is legendary actor. We can say that for sure. But a fundamental patriot, God-fearing patriot. Back in November, just to establish your bona fides on the acting side, you received an award from the President of the United States. And you were the main person selected in all of the United States. Tell us briefly about that award.
Well, that was an award called the Medal of the Arts, and it's a lovely, it's a lovely honor to be given, singled out in any way, and especially for me from this president. And the ceremony was just as you would want it, or at least from me. It was, there were several other people who were given different awards, maybe 5 of us. And one of them being the military bands was given an award. And so I was with great people, lovely people. And it was a very simple ceremony. we all were told when to go up and sit in our places. And it was, all just at that moment. You go up here, John, and then when he says something to you, then you stand, and they gave us those directions. Well, I'm an actor, I can take directions. So we go up, and the president shows up in the middle of a very, very busy day. This is what he does. He gets up in the morning at, I don't know what time, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and he just goes through his day like this, he's been given the instructions too, you see. So he's supposed to do this and do this and do this, and he just comes in and we do it, and it's very, very simple ceremony, nothing overdone, but very beautiful. And they played a song from Midnight Cowboy. They played the theme song from Midnight Cowboy, and it's da 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 da. Da, 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 da. That's the way it goes. And I felt, I was sitting there listening to this, and I thought, well, people probably don't really, very few people probably remember that as the theme song, or familiar with the movie. I better do something to identify that as my award, because it happened without announcing me. They just started playing this song. So I let it go on for a little bit. Then I said, I got to get up and do something. So I got up and I did just a little dance move, just a funny, and there's a wonderful picture. And I had lots of nice response from that. But there's a wonderful picture of me doing this little silly dance step, and you see the president at the podium, and he's laughing, and that's one of my favorite pictures. Is that wow. I got a laugh out of our president at that moment, when I'm recalling the work that I did and toward that honor, Anyway, wow, we had a wonderful time. It was very beautiful.
That's a great story, great honor, obviously, particularly with the military up there, those folks. It's 9:20 in the morning. Tom Trento, your host, my co-host, Susie Gold, who is an observant Torah-believing Jew. She has a question for you in a minute. But we got to thank our dear friend, Ron Edelstein, who put this interview together, a friend of yours, John. And he runs an organization of Jews and Christians working together. We do a lot of that. We're mobilizing Jews and Christians in Florida. Thus, you're here for that reason. I got a lot of stuff, Mark.
Speaking of honors,
what do you got? Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
There's your picture with him. That's a great picture. That is November 19th, I believe, 2019. Jon Voight receiving this national medal recognizing achievement in the arts, a lifelong career in the arts. We can do a show on your career in the arts. One of my favorite movies, I think, was Karate Dog. You remember that one?
That was great. That was great.
Oh my God.
John starred in Karate Dog. I mean, whatever. So you win some, you lose some, right? What's the deal? You get an Academy Award and sometimes you don't. So Susie Gold has a question for you.
Yeah. Good morning, John. I'd like to know what your message is to the Christians and Jews that are listening to our show about what this election means to our relationship to Israel, the U.S.-Israel relationship. What's your thoughts? What's your message to our listeners with regard to what this election means to all of us?
Well, I had wanted to direct myself to the Jewish folks that I know, my friends. And I sat down and wrote something out. And this is what I wrote. People ask me why I'm so supportive of Israel and of Donald Trump. I was born in 1938, and therefore I was alive through the time of the Holocaust. And I also witnessed the ratification of Israel as the historic homeland of the Jewish people in 1948. I saw the attacks on this tiny state from the beginning through to today. Of all the dangers to Israel, the most frightening is the existence of Iran as led by the mullahs, with its pledge to wipe the Jews into the sea. The Iran deal under the prior administration paved the way for that very horror with its promise of a nuclear Iran within a decade. Donald Trump dismantled this poisonous agreement. Joe Biden has promised to reinstate it if he becomes president. Donald Trump has brought our embassy to Jerusalem. Prior presidents promised to do this to curry favor with voters, but they never followed through. This move has important ramifications, as are the designations of the proper borders of Israel that President Trump has acknowledged in various ways, one being the demarcations set forth in his peace plan. With these moves, he has paid respect to the Bible account of God's gift of the land to Abraham.
Amen.
And all the succeeding drama of the land and the Jewish people testified to by the journey of Moses and the utterances of the ancient Hebrew prophets. And now President Trump has brought a third Arab country in the past 2 months to make peace with Israel, giving the world hope that for the first time in modern history, the neighbors in that troubled area might find a way to peace. It is appropriate that Donald Trump has been nominated for the Nobel Prize, but he is just beginning. I hope everyone who loves Israel and the Jewish people will vote for him to continue his work for us all.
Amen.
Amen.
Wow.
Amen.
Amen.
Very, very. And Jon Voight's history with Jewish people didn't start yesterday. It goes back a bit. I think, Mark, in the archives, do we have something there? Dancing, the dancing one. Do we have that? Yeah. You find that one. Tell me when that's up. And I think Sam Sorbo at 9:24 in the morning. Sam, you had a question for your buddy, Jon Voight.
So
Sam and I go back. We have Sam, Kevin, and I, and Gary Sinise, and several buddies out here. We were all friends and very active, over the early years of this kind of battle for the truth and for our country, and she's done so much wonderful work since that time, and I miss her presence and Kevin's presence out in California, but I know that she's very, very happy where she is.
that's very, very kind of you to say that, John. And I know, and you know, that we both feel very strong emotions about what we see happening to this great nation and the potential that we see from Donald Trump. But what I want to ask you is there are so many people who Christians even, who can't bring themselves to vote for him. And so I'd like you to talk to them about what they would be voting against, because if they sit on the fence, that is also a vote. And so how can you inspire people who are so averse to Trump for, whatever reasons that the press has brought out or whatever? How do you inspire those people? What are they voting against when they vote for Donald Trump?
Yeah, I'm out here in Oklahoma, and I went to breakfast a couple of days ago, and and there wasn't anybody. We're having a little bit of difficulty out there. There was an ice storm, and the power went down and all of that. And we finally had a place that opened up a little earlier, and I went there, and there wasn't any room except there was a single fellow at one of the booths, and the waitress said, "Would you take another person," meaning me? "Would you accept another fellow at the table?" And he said, "Oh, sure, come on over." And so I went over, and we started talking. His name was Harlan, and I said, and he's an older man, and I said, and we talked, and he said, "Well, I voted today, and I didn't vote for Trump." I said, "Really?" I said, why is that? Why didn't you vote for Donald Trump?" He said, "Well, I'm I'm from the Navy, and he said these things against the military. And I said, really? I said, Harlan, those were lies. Those were lies. And all those people that they said those things about him and, witnessed that, they're anonymous. No one has stepped forward. And all the people who were there at that event testified that he never said anything like that. More than that, Donald Trump is the best president, the best friend of our military that we've ever had. I would put him against any president that we've ever had in terms of his support and his love for the military. He said, really? I said, yeah. And he said, oh, gee, I wish I'd seen you a couple of hours ago. Imagine, right? Just like that. And what you alluded to, Sam, is that these lies, and really, unfortunately, the Democrat Party has just become a series of lies and posturing, and they have lost whatever integrity they might have had in the past. They've been overtaken by Marxists, of course.
Yes.
And they're using every kind of devious method to attack this president. And it's been an extraordinary first term for him. He's never had a moment's peace, and yet he's accomplished so many things for all of us, more than any other president of the United States in our history. And so I say to you folks, find the truth. Go seek the truth. It's not impossible to find. They've tried to hide it in every way they can. They've overtaken the media. They have these, the social media engines have protected the lies of the Democrat Party right down to today.
Right.
With this thing with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and the corruption that has taken place, they're hiding it, suppressing it, because they want to get these guys in. Can you imagine? For what? Because they want to destroy the American dream. They want to take away, this great light of a country that has illumined the world. They want to do that. What's the matter with them? And if these guys get in, I can tell you the sadness, the depression that will overtake us when we realize that we've given away something so beautiful, and we've entered into that deep depression that happens when socialism takes over a country. In every country it's been applied to, it has destroyed the soul of that country, and the people live in a terrible depression. Look at Venezuela, look at Cuba, look at Poland. Ask people from those countries what they think about what's going on in America. They identify it. They knew what happened to their country. Exactly the same thing is happening now with our country. So we have to defend it. And the only way we can do it, decent people can do it, is step up and make a vote. So please, do everything you can to bring this presidency and the Senate and the House back in order, so we can have an American society into the future for our children and grandchildren.
I like to say that a vote for Biden is a vote for China.
Yeah. Well, watch this. For everyone just tuning in, whether you're watching at theunitedwest.org or listening on WNN 1470, 95.3 iHeartRadio, 9:31 in the morning. My clock says 10:31 because it didn't correct itself, but I'm mentally correcting it. 9:31 in the morning. Sam Sorbo, our good friend, is here in studio, and we're zooming in. Jon Voight from Oklahoma out there. What are you doing? You shooting a movie or something out there?
Yeah, I'm doing a movie about Reagan, actually.
Oh, cool. Well,
Very cool.
I'm not playing Reagan, by the way. Dennis Quaid is playing him.
Playing Reagan. Okay. Well, if you're listening, Jon Voight just explained why Marxism doesn't make sense, and he's used the term evil several times. One of the reasons why we invited him on the show, and there's a lot of reasons for him to come on the show, one of the reasons is these short 2, 3, 4-minute videos that he's doing that are extremely dramatic and important in terms of their content. And it's very refreshing for America to see someone of his caliber to speak the truth in light of what's going on. Listen to, we'll play about a minute of this one about Joe Biden. You don't pull any punches, John, when you address Biden. And Sam, I want you to, after John comments, for you to weigh in on this. We ready, Mark?
No.
Not yet. All right, he's getting that queued up. You basically said Joe Biden is evil. I mean, you came right out and said Joe Biden is evil.
Yeah.
That takes a lot. Explain yourself, Jon Voight.
Well, look at what he's doing. He's allowing himself to be used by this pernicious evil force. How bad is that? He knows he's being this portrayed as, you know, he's a good guy. Joe, happy Joe, good, nice Joe. Nice Joe is not such a nice guy. He's allowing these poisonous people to take over this country using him. And look, and the corruption that has been unearthed in the very recent days and months. I mean, he's very much a part of it. He's a deeply corrupt man. And the unfortunate, you know, his children, and of course, Hunter, is used by him in a very ugly way. And of course, people say, you know, well, nothing has been proven yet, and we can't say nothing. Well, if you listen to Rudy Giuliani's breakdown of all of what was on the laptop, and then you see that no one has stepped up to say this it wasn't real. You know, there's it's the truth, and this fellow is, and there's much that's going to be coming out, you know, in the future about this administration, his participation in it.
There's also, you can take their own words. You have Hunter Biden saying that he pays 50% of everything that he earns to his father. And then there's a video that actually I just saw this morning. If you want to go on YouTube and look it up, you can find it at Joe Biden admits he's corrupt. Okay, that's the name of the video. And it's Joe Biden as a 29-year-old, he's the youngest member of the Senate, saying that he was ready to prostitute himself and talking about the corruption that exists in politics. And the interviewer at first asked him and says, you know, you haven't been corrupted. And he said, well, that's an assumption that you're willing to make. And thank you for that. I mean, it's crazy. If you look at Senator Biden in his own words at the age of 29, you know, you don't actually have to go much farther than that. It at least casts a little bit of doubt on why so many Americans are putting their trust in Joe Biden. And I mean, I struggle with that, because what you brought up at the beginning, that the Democrat Party actually renounced God, took God off of their platform, took Jerusalem off of their platform, and had suffered so little repercussions for that.
Yeah.
That you know, and then you have Christians who are saying, well, I can't vote for Donald Trump, he's so offensive. Really offensive? That's the problem that you have now? It's not the corruption. It's not the sending $150 billion or whatever it was to Iran, to the mullahs, when every Saturday they come out and say death to America. That's not the problem that you have. It's crazy to me.
Yes, and what you just said about China too, of course, his connection to China. He's deeply involved with China, and he's you know, his manipulation for money, for money, you see, selling the vice presidency of the United States, the influence of the vice presidency, and been responsible for bringing so many businesses out of this country into China and giving so much support to the Chinese. This is what's going on with him. He's really, when you said it's a vote for China, you're
because we're selling off America to the highest bidder, and actually it's not even the highest bidder, it's just China, and we're allowing our intellectual property to be stolen by China, and China has been manipulating the markets, and for the longest time. And remember, that's what Trump ran on, which is why, in effect, we have Joe Biden running against him this time because of China. And I don't know if you saw this the other day, both Biden and Kamala Harris referred to the Harris administration. So I don't know what you think you're getting by voting for Joe Biden, but it's not what you think.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna. It's a bait and switch. It's a bait and switch situation. Tom Trento here, 9:37 in the morning. We have Sam Sorbo in studio, Jon Voight on location, and we're having a very serious conversation about the necessity of the remaining evangelical Christians and others in the state of Florida to get up and get out over the next 2 days and vote.
Yes.
Right now, 8.7 million Floridians have already voted.
60%.
In 2018, when Ron DeSantis narrowly beat Andrew Gillum by 31,000 votes, only 8.5 million have voted. The most that have ever voted is around 9.5 million. We're going to go way beyond that. It's going to be fascinating to see. Some of the folks here have questions. John, can you hang with us a little bit longer? I know you're probably studying your lines for your part, but you can figure that stuff out, right?
I don't know, Tom. I may have to call you. Help.
Let me know. I'll help you out. I got some good pointers on that. I can help you get off book. John and Mark, why don't you go, and then we'll see who's next.
All right, I'm just going to play the Biden is evil thing, but I just wanted to say one thing about Jon Voight. When I saw him at the RNC 4 years ago, he was, most actors.
Ago, Mark.
8 years. Oh God, 8 years ago.
Time is flying.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
When it was 8 years ago, you have celebrities that come through radio like they blow in, they blow out, and everything. Like this man impressed me so much. He went to every radio row spot. I don't care if it's Blog Talk or anything like that. He worked it. He worked it like Donald Trump did, and he's just an amazing. He really, really impressed me more than any other actor I've ever met. Now, I'm not just saying that because you're here, but you just really impressed me. I just have to say that.
Isn't that so kind of you to say that?
Well, that leads up to a question about Well, go ahead. Here's my question. John, here's my question.
It's so nice.
What do you? I mean, you've impressed a lot of people that way. What do you see? What do you desire your legacy to be? You got a lot of good years left, let me tell you. But
it doesn't sound like it. It doesn't.
Why are you doing this?
You're introducing it.
You never know, man. You never know. The boom from the camera can knock you in the head. Who knows?
No, I'm. Look, I am in my later years, and I would like to pass on the great gift that we've been given to be born in this country, and the great gift to the world that this country is. I would like to pass this on to my grandchildren and their grandchildren, to see that intact, and this last 24 hours is going to determine whether that can happen or not. So that would be a wonderful legacy for me, is just to know that we at this time appreciated what we've been given and are grateful to God for all this gift.
And you've been so instrumental because your voice resonates, and people respect you. And so I have to say, I really appreciate you for stepping out and being a force for good. And I want to point out to people that the Democrat Party wants this nation to be like other nations. And yet this nation is the beacon on the hill. This nation is the one that everybody wants to come to. That's why we have a problem at our border, is because everybody wants to come here. So why should we be turning ourselves into other countries? Why should we be trying to emulate other countries? We are a leader, and there's a reason for that, and we ought to maintain that. So, and I want to encourage everybody, please vote, because just because you think that Donald Trump might win in a landslide, or just because you think that Biden might win, Although if you're voting for Biden, please don't vote. But if you're voting for Trump, please do vote, because he needs a mandate. We need to, this election needs to resoundingly run for Trump. And trust me, they are trying to cheat. That's what they do. They're trying to cheat. What do you think Biden telling the Ukrainians that they had to fire the prosecutor who was looking into the company that his son worked for was all about? In his own words, he's saying it, and yet they're refusing to believe it. We have to vote for Trump. We need to get Trump a landslide in this election, and it comes down to each individual voter.
Amen. Hey, John, you have a calling from God. That's pretty clear, and you're maybe figuring out how all of that works, but you're not waiting until you completely understand it. You're speaking as God is moving in your life and process. That's a phenomenal thing to see, and we see that connection. But your legacy is solidified in this next little piece of video, because when you don't appear in the piece, just your name, and it resonates so magnificently, you know your legacy is solidified. Play this little piece, Mark.
So? Come on, put the top up. It's November. I feel alive, Jerry. Let's check out the glove box. Pencil. Hey, you don't think? Sure, that's Jon Voight's pencil. Jon Voight's teeth marks. Owner's manual. You know what? This car was owned by Jon Voight. You see, I told you. Except John is spelled with an H. J-O-H-N. Doesn't Jon Voight spell his name J-O-N? What do you say? Nothing. I'm sure John probably misspelled his own name. I know sometimes I spell Jerry with a G. And am Get out of the car! That's right, you heard me. Get out. You're ruining this whole experience for me. Oh, look. There's Gregory Peck's bicycle. Get out! And Barbara Van Trell's skateboard. Get out!
All right. 9:45. All right. At 9:45. Do you remember when they did? Mark, you got to kill it. You remember that piece, John?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
That's a classic piece of
Very
Seinfeld.
funny.
George thought he bought Jon Voight's LeBaron convertible and found out it was John with a different spelling in his name. By the way, have you ever owned a LeBaron convertible?
My mother did, actually.
There you go. It's your mother's car.
She said, "What?" She was upset with me. I said, when I did it, she said, "You should have asked for a new car for me." As a, she was trying to make a deal using. I can't do stuff like that. I mean,
You're Jon Voight. You can do whatever.
The fellow who wrote that, very good actor, very, very good writer, and a very nice man. And when I did this little piece where I bit Kramer in the arm during that episode,
right?
And afterward, he said, "John, would you do me a favor and just come around this corner, the back lot of Warner Brothers we were at?" And I said, "Sure." So he walked around. He says, "This car, did you ever own this car?" And it was a LeBaron. And I said, no, I never owned that car." He said, "Oh, damn it." He said, it actually was something that happened to him that he based the whole thing on, you see? And he was hoping it was my car.
That's great. A true life story. Look, I'm going to see if anybody has one more question. Then I'm going to ask you to give a parting admonition to all the people in South Florida and wherever they're listening or watching to do what they need to do. Anybody have a final question for John?
I do.
Okay, Damon. Damon Rosen is our former producer, back from Israel, made Aliyah, lived there. We needed him back here. He's back here right now, and he has a question.
Yeah. I, as a conservative Jew, a Trump supporting Jew, get asked by a lot of people why the majority of Jews vote Democrat. So, and I don't have a real good explanation, but I want to ask you why the vast majority of Hollywood backs the socialist, Marxist, Democrat Party. Because I can't answer for Jews. I'm hoping you might be able to answer for Hollywood.
Yeah, well, you know, we've been attacked over the years, and I saw that up front in the 60s by Marxists from the KGB. They had a system which would break a country down and pave the way for a Marxist government. I mean, they did it in Eastern Europe, they did it in North Korea, they did it in Vietnam, finding both South and North Vietnam. They did it in Cuba. So
they're in our schools.
Pardon?
And they're in our schools.
And they had a way to do that. And that's what they did, you know, over the years. They found ways to infiltrate what they're very good at. By the way, they're not so good at governing. They're an economic, you know, disaster area. I mean, if you look at what happened with going back to Lenin in the first decade of in his first years, and he didn't last very long, by the way, he starved 4 million people at least. And then a decade later, Stalin did the same thing with another 6 million, starved them because of incompetent economic, you know, understandings. Completely. Look at Venezuela. It was the most prosperous country in South America, and now it's just it's
a wasteland.
It's a horror for the people living there. They're eating shoe leather. But I saw this, you know, destruction coming in, and they knew how to do it. And a lot of the things that are being applauded today, these attacks on family and church and this gender stuff, this came from the Frankfurt School, a lot of it, you know, which was a Marxist school that gained popularity in the 60s. So they've been at it for a long time. They had one little pause in the interim years, and that was with Reagan. And then he brought down the Soviet Union, and we stepped back and thought the fight was over in some way. So we weren't vigilant. And then it continued. And they have, at this time, with a lot of villains, you know, at work with a lot of money, they've found their way into our education system, right down to the grammar schools at this moment. Started with the universities. And then the overtaking of Hollywood. Lenin pointed the direction. He said, film is the great medium of communication. So they focused on the film area, and they were successful. They know how to bring down a country. They don't know what to do with it after that. And people just suffer until they can gain strength to overthrow it. But that's what's going on. And now with the press, with the media being overtaken, and you can look at, they've been bought out. It's just terrible. So the people who are watching any mainstream television are being indoctrinated, and they're running around like Manchurian candidates. And that's what's happened in Hollywood. A couple of people, very charismatic people fell into this, and then it became the rule. And these people they're little tyrants. The socialists, you know, the socialist governments have been, you know, horrible, tyrannical, telling people what to do with their lives. You know, this freedom we have in this country, we take it for granted. I mean, Americans take for granted that they are free to express themselves. Well, over these past couple of years, we can see you're only allowed a certain amount of freedom. You're not allowed to say this, you're not allowed to say that. You got to do this, you got to do that. You got to be part of this group, part of that group. Look, it's a very dangerous thing that has happened, but it's very hard to break it. And when I was in the 60s, I was on the left. I was against the war, you know. And then I saw that when we pulled out of Vietnam, that 2 million people, 2.5 million people were killed in Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam when we pulled out.
Right.
And I saw that, and then I saw the people on the left, who were my friends, walk away like they succeeded. You know, this was a big victory for them. They didn't pay any attention to the bloodshed that was caused. And that began my slow awakening. But it's hard because it's real indoctrination. You are really programmed. So you have to shake off that programming. Anyway, that's what's going on. And so I understand what's going on in Hollywood. And I just tell those people, I say, just see if you can find your way to wanting to know the truth about things.
All right. Hey, that's a clear answer for sure. John, we got a couple of minutes left.
You think so? You think it was clear enough?
That was clear. That was clear. I understood. If I understand it, it's clear.
Better explanation than I have for the Jews.
Yeah, you got 1 minute. You're a good actor. You got 1 minute to do a closing argument to get our folks in Florida out to vote because we're running out of time here.
Okay.
Action.
To the people in Hollywood, let's think about our children. Let's give them the freedom and the joy that we had of being Americans as we grew up. And let's not lose this for our kids. Let's do this for our kids. That's it.
Amen. All right.
That was great.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Jon Voight,
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Sam. Great to see you.
What's good
to see you
is
too.
what you said earlier when we met him at the convention. You and Donald Trump has the same thing. I've met Donald Trump, many times, and he has the same thing. It's a blue collar, personal attitude that all people you're friendly with all people, not this elitist view here and there. And John, our time today with all the people here, and we could have gone for 3 hours, a very warm. It's like we're all hanging out in your hotel room or our studio here, having a little bit of early wine and just discuss. Yeah, and eating a sandwich. Minus the sandwich. Just having a discussion. That's an attribute that few people have. You have it, and we appreciate you taking the time to be with us.
Well, I'm so grateful to you guys. Really grateful for all the work you've done, Tommy, and all of you there. The work that you're putting into this. It's very, very important. Really, really important. God bless you.
All right. We'll catch you on the other side for the victory. All right.
Yep. That's
all right. There it is.
Thank
Jon
you.
Voight, ladies and
Thanks,
gentlemen.
John.
Hey, Sam, we got about a minute. Why don't you give us a closing thought? Take us out of the show. All right.
Yeah. A vote for Joe Biden is virtue signaling. If you've never said anything nasty about someone, then you can vote for Joe Biden. But if you're criticizing Donald Trump because he says some stuff that you disagree with, but he's done such amazing things for this nation, shame on you. Vote for the man who loves America. Vote for your country, and don't be ashamed of your country. We are the greatest nation in the world. There's a reason for that, and it's the freedoms that we enjoy. And the Democrat Party wants to take away your freedoms. You heard it straight from Biden's lips. You've heard it from Kamala's lips, but you will never hear it from Donald Trump's lips because he doesn't believe that. He believes in the freedom that made this nation great. So stop your virtue signaling and fess up. You love America. You want America to survive. Vote Donald Trump. Vote Republican. Vote the party that believes in America, believes in freedom, and supports your rights.
All right. Yay. All right.
Other than that, I don't have an opinion.
All right. Other than that. All right. We got a Hollywood show today. We got to get going right now, folks. Thank you. Tom Trento signing off for Susie Gold, the rest of the team here. Party time, folks. We're having a pre-election party downstairs. John, you're invited, but you're a little far away. Right?
Thanks a lot.
All right. Take it easy.
We'll save you a sandwich.
Yeah, we'll save you a sandwich.
Have my sandwich again.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you so
We're
much.
done.
God bless. God bless.
God bless you.
Biden is evil. Trump
Trump must win. He's real. He will bring back the people's trust. These leftists are not for the American people. It's the biggest cover-up ever. Biden is an extension of the policies of Obama that weakened America, and we cannot let that happen again. The left are deceitful and have lied to the American people. They have stripped down her mighty powers for their own ego of power to rule the nation's economy. Let us ask God to rid this horror, and let us hold a candle on this land of the free and bring her back to the place she once stood proud. She is God's liberty. She is God's love. She is freedom, dignity. And God will cast his healing breath across this land. He will vanquish deceit. And I assure you that Jesus, Moses, will stand their ground and ask all to vote for truths. Our land of the free will break her chains, and this will be. My children of God, your only hope is to see this greatness. And you must vote for this man in office, the President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, for he is a man of integrity fighting for you and this country's welfare. He loves this country as you do. Don't allow deceit to manipulate you, for only truths will prevail. Don't die knowing you all allowed a lie. This lie has to be wiped out. Donald Trump has been great for the American people these last 4 years, and he wants to continue to fight for her glory and freedom. The left will bring you down with their lies and destroy America. Let us all pray, and may God give us strength that we may shine in the name of Jesus and Moses and saints of all religions. May we hold God's torch of truths and pray for world peace, for the U.S. to bring her nation's flag to wave with pride with President Donald Trump, 2020. God bless.